in these two farms, their local feed, or else their on-farm feed, was also the pelleted feed, more or less the same with what that was supplied, possibly different suppliers. And so since the feed was the same, we cannot quite attribute the growth, the difference in growth to the feeds. Possibly now we can talk about the water, the difference in water, either the reused or the new water, right? Yeah, we need to understand that first so that as we continue, we can see how we can attribute the differences in growth. In this fish pond, which had reused water and the controlled feed, we experienced a problem from the onset of after fish was stocked. From, let's say, the second sampling, the fish had a fin rot. And possibly that was the reason why the growths have been low all along. The challenges that you have faced in both farms, in some occasions, in Nakuru Fish Farm and Hatchery, there have been low levels of water, especially when there was some dry season. But right now, the water levels are okay because they've been in the rains. There were frogs, especially in the two ponds that had fresh water, and probably it's because maybe the water that was coming in, the sieving was not very perfect, so maybe some eggs or frogs and all that came in. There have been problems with the bird predation, and also the fish, since it was mixed eggs, they've been breeding, and that would in a way have affected the growth, because once the fish start breeding, especially the females, their growth rate is quite affected. And also the low temperatures we've seen in that farm is affecting the growth. And in this farm there was some fin rot, just very minimal anyway, in the third month, which is now okay. In this other farm, the challenges are more or less the same, and I've discussed this last one, the problem of the fin rot and also the gas bubble on the fins. In conclusion, with time the fish have been growing in both farms. However, at Wilfay Farm, the new water has been performing better. In Nakuru Fish Farm, the reused water has been performing better. However, we need to do more of the statistical analysis to really verify if there is any statistical difference. And I had talked earlier, there was slower growth in Nakuru Fish Farm and Hatchery, and it's probably mainly because of the temperatures.
So as you can see, in Peter's farm, the ponds we are using the commercial feed, they are really higher. We can't compare them with the other one because the red one and the blue one it's like it's advanced in the red one. Those was the ponds we are using the new feed. The blue one new water, local feed. The red one old water and local feed. They are slightly lower. And this one maybe because of the quality of the local feed, the farmer was manufacturing it himself. So that one may be as a result of the lower growth as compared to the commercial feed we are supplying. After the first feed got finished, we had to wait again to get more feed. And for that period of time, Peter was not feeding the fish because he didn't have feed. Maybe he didn't have the resources to buy the feed. But for Makoha, he continued feeding the fish with the feed yet, because as I have told you, for him the local feed is still there, commercial feed. Yeah, so that is the reason why the two ponds have a lot of difference. Yeah, another thing I may want to say again is that we also had another challenge in Peter's farm. And this one I noticed after the rainy season, that is between April and May there. We noticed, this one is very frustrating, we noticed catfish in all the ponds. Yeah, because the ponds, they flooded, and I think catfish came from the river. There is a river nearby. They flooded so much, and the catfish came from the river, and also some other fish species. So I tend to think that these fish are eating, of course, the feed which Peter is giving the fish, thus resulting to the lower growth rate.
In the two fish farms, we have these growth trends that we noticed. The first one is Kipati Fish Farm, and the second one is Aquafish Farm. in Kifadhi fish farm, you notice that there are two lines which are shooting higher than the other two lines, right? Now these two that we have in green and light green are the ones that are using pelleted feeds. The introduction of pelleted feeds has increased the growth rate of fish. On the other side, we have Aquafish farm. Their growths, the growths for the various setups are quite close. The protein content in their on-farm feeds and that which is offered by pelleted feeds are pretty close. That's why those lines are close. From the graphs, I noticed that at some point, a better part is that new water was doing better than reused water. And I was wondering, and actually most of us expected that reused water would do better than new water. But then I figured out the reason why new water was doing better is because progressively the nutrients are being added, and this was providing the best conditions for fish to grow. But in the case of reused water, there was concentration of already nutrients. So in a way it was stress to the fish. And that's why we saw when there was flooding in Kifadhi, now the reused water was now doing better. So if we monitor our reused water in terms of nutrients and concentrations, in terms of fertilization also, we will be able to get better growth.
As you can see from the graph, the ones which were under reused water and on-farm feed, the fish were growing faster than the others, followed by the ones which were under reused water and pelleted feeds. Then the next one was new water with on-farm feeds, and the last one was new water with pelleted feeds. So that is how the growth has been. I think what I can say about the growth is because Susan's farm on-farm feeds are very good. She does a good mixture of the ratios for feed, the contents are okay. So that's why you can see the on-farm feeds are doing better with reused water than the pelleted feeds. Some of the challenges which I faced, one is the floods. The second one was flooding occurred in one of the fish ponds, and we had to drain some water before we did the sampling for us to be able to catch the fish. The other challenge was about leaking on one of the ponds. The other challenge was mortalities, which occurred especially after stocking. Thank you for listening.